What's up, everybody? TCM back with another video, and today we're going to talk about how AI tools such as ChatGPT, such as Midjourney, such as other websites that I'm going to show you can be utilized to help you in your cybersecurity slash pen test career. We've seen a lot of talk about AI replacing us in the workspace and all this jazz, but in reality, AI is actually a really good assistant, and I think that's where it's going to be for a while. So let me show you how AI can be used to make your life a little bit easier in your career, and we're going to do that with quite a few examples today. So let's take a word from our sponsor, and then we're going to hop right into the video. Oh yeah, and as always, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, you know the drill. There are a ton of vulnerabilities out there, from remote code execution to prototype pollution and even SQL injection, just to name a few. As an ethical hacker, I love exploiting these types of vulnerabilities, but also running a development team, I hate seeing these types of vulnerabilities show up in our applications. That's where Synk comes in. Synk automatically scans your code, dependencies, containers, and configurations, finding and automatically fixing vulnerabilities in real time. So here's how easy this is. You can use my link, synk.co/thecybermentor, come to the landing page here and hit sign up. Once you're signed up, you can come in here and add a project. I'm gonna select a project from GitHub. And once your project's imported, Synk finds your vulnerabilities and you can fix them with just a click. Watch this. I come into here, I can open a fix PR or a pull request, and Synk opens fix PR so you can merge and move on. Plus it does it all from your existing tools, IDEs, CLI, repos, pipelines, Docker Hub, and more. And look how easy that was to just do a pull request with these issues in hand. It's amazingly fast. So what are you waiting for? Come check out Synk and find out if there's any vulnerabilities within your projects. It's free, and you can sign up using my link at synk.co/thecybermentor. So for this first topic, we're going to be using ChatGPT. If you've never used ChatGPT before, that's okay. You can just go to chat.openai.com, and you will be presented with this login or sign up screen. All you got to do is sign up, and then you'll be brought to a prompt. So if you have a new chat, it might look something like this. You can choose default of ChatGPT 3.5 or GPT-4. 3.5 is a little bit faster, 4 is a little bit slower. It's newer, it does more, it knows a little bit more, but just for this example, we're going to use 3.5. So example number 1, as a pen tester, we have to write a lot of reports. Now, we get reports that look something like this, and we have to write executive summaries. So if we scroll down just a little bit, you can see we have executive summaries in here where we talk about the findings that we have. In this report, as an example, we did an external penetration test for this company. We're going to pick our own dates and just play around a little bit, but I'm going to use this report just for a sample. And we write out this summary that says, hey, here's what we found, here's kind of the severity findings, and here are the key strengths and weaknesses, right? So we come in here and then we give them this vulnerability card, and we say, hey, here's finding 1, here's the severity, here's the recommendation. So what we can do is we can build out just this. Like we can copy all of this and then move this over to ChatGPT and have this help write some of this for us. Now, one caveat to mention is that it doesn't always get everything correct. It is confidently wrong sometimes, so you need to make sure that you are fact checking what is being presented. But this is a great way to help you as an assistant. In this example, I said to ChatGPT that I'm writing a pen test report for an organization named Demo Corp. And I told the dates of the engagement, so May 5th to May 10th. And here are the findings that I had. The only thing different I did here is I did colon separate these. So here's the finding, here's the title of the finding, here's the severity, and then the recommendation, and went through with that. So I printed all these out and I said, hey, they're all colon separated into the following categories. In an active writing voice, you can tell what type of writing voice you want, passive, active, etc. Can you please write an executive summary using the above information? So this is what it printed out. It said, hey, from May 5th to May 10th, we found several vulnerabilities. And here is the executive summary. And it kind of printed them out. On top of that, it made better recommendations than what I provided. For example, I came up here and I said, hey, you had insufficient password complexity, implement CIS benchmark requirements or PAM solution. This came in and actually said, hey, you can do that to enhance the complexity and strength of user passwords. This will significantly mitigate the risk of unauthorized access through password guessing or cracking attacks. Pretty cool. And it did that for all of them and told what severity it was, etc., etc. All right. That's pretty awesome. However, that's not really how we write our executive summaries, though it could be, but you can tell the format that you want. So I could say, hey, can you rewrite the above in a paragraph format? And then it took that and it said, okay, so we found one high severity of EPT001 revealed to be insufficient password complexity. To address this is crucial for Demo Corp to implement CS benchmark password policy. So it's not as strong as before, but it still does say exactly what we want. And it writes all of this out for you, okay? And puts it all together and writes an executive summary in literal seconds. It's awesome. Again, you need to go back and verify the information and make sure everything it's saying is correct. But I would say ChatGPT is right most of the time. Still, it's incorrect enough that you need to verify this. Another thing ChatGPT can do is be used to generate payloads. For example, we could say, could you please provide me with 10 SQL injection payloads? And just send this here. Okay, and it'll tell you, give you a warning and say, hey, this is a malicious technique. Don't have to worry about it because it still gives you some examples. You could ask for more. You could say, could you please give me 10 cross-site scripting payloads? It'll also do that. And it'll come through just like that. Another thing ChatGPT can do is help with source code review. So we could say something like, can you please identify any vulnerabilities within this code? Now, again, this isn't going to be perfect. Manual review is always better than a bot, but having a bot helps. So I'm going to go ahead and just send this, and let's see how it does. Okay, and it says, hey, the code you provided, let's look at the code I provided, by the way. Basic cross-site scripting vulnerable page, right? And we have this PHP echo get name, which should be vulnerable to cross-site scripting. It comes in here, it says there's a vulnerability in the code that could lead to cross-site scripting. Perfect. And it says, hey, it embeds the name parameter HTML output, gives you examples. It even updates the code for you to fix the cross-site scripting vulnerability. How awesome is that? Pretty freaking cool. If we wanted to, we could even write a finding for this. We could say, could you please write a finding based on the XSS found in the above code, along with recommendations for remediation. And this will do it. It's amazing. Look at this. It's so fast too, and it tells you everything you need to do. You could use this in a pen test report. Again, you need to validate the information, but look how fast this is. It says, hey, the provided code is vulnerable to cross-site scripting. The name parameter from the query string is directly embedded into the HTML output, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Gives you all the recommendations that you would need. Very, very awesome. Okay, let's shift things now to a site called Midjourney. If you're not familiar with Midjourney, Midjourney is used to make pictures, and we can do a lot of things with pictures that are awesome. So if you're here and you've never signed up for Midjourney before, you can come and say join the beta, and you will need a Discord account in order to join the beta. Once you join the beta, you can come in here and actually use the Midjourney rooms in order to utilize the service. However, you can also just click on the Midjourney bot and say add to server. So you can just create your own server, select the server you want to add it to, and run it in there. For example, I have this Midjourney stuff server, and I put all of my information in here, all of my runs that I do, and it's pretty awesome. Okay, I'm going to show you what we did recently using Midjourney to improve some of our quoting documents. You can do this with reporting documents, a lot of other things. Just generating graphics in general is really cool, and it can save you with the subscription fee to utilize sites like Envato or other places, and you can create your own media that's unique to you, which is pretty cool. So this is a little bit older, but this is kind of what our sales document looked like. We had the front page, we've got about us, we've got some things about the people that work for us, we've got some of our services, et cetera, and then we get into some of this methodology, like, hey, here's what an external pen test is, here's what an internal pen test is, et cetera. So we took that and we used Midjourney to create this quote, which is pretty neat. So everything that you see here is going to be AI generated. And if you come through, you can see like, hey, it's the same kind of concept, same kind of feel, but it feels a little bit different. We've got more of a cyberpunk kind of cartoonish feel, which I actually really like. And we can generate some images in here. Like if we come through, you can see like, hey, here's the external pen test of what it looked like now compared to what it looked like before. And I think this looks a heck of a lot better. This is all AI generated. Right here, this is AI generated. All these images that you see in here, totally AI generated. It's really, really cool. So let's take a look at Midjourney and how this is actually done. So I'll be honest to start with some of my failures. I was looking for a wireless device hacking type photo. And I just started off with saying, hey, I'm looking for a hacker using a wireless device to hack. And I gave an example photo here, which was actually just a pineapple. So I fed this pineapple into Midjourney and I tried to get it to use that with a hacker. And I got some okay results. It looks like a hacker using a wireless device, not terrible, but I wanted it to be a little bit better. So I started saying, hey, I want this maybe to be more cyberpunk. I want to have a command terminal. And we started getting some decent ones. Like this one down here is not too bad. And you could come in here and re-roll, which you could see that I did, and it'll generate more images. You can also pull down images. Like if I say U4, I'm collecting this image in a higher quality. I could do variants of the images here. So if I want a variant of this, I can also just click that and roll. Here you can see I downloaded that photo. Maybe I was going to use it, maybe not. Didn't end up making the cut, but it ended up turning into a lot better things. So I kept adjusting this. This aspect ratio was actually 9:16. I actually wanted 16:9. So I started generating that and I started getting some okay photos, some not. You can keep re-rolling on these and probably get something a little bit better, but I wanted something a little bit more cartoonish. So I came in and I started generating cyberpunk with cartoon. I started putting some weight to this image here. So this image weight means, hey, I want to consider it a little bit. Doesn't have to be too heavy. Put my aspect ratio in correctly. And then I started getting photos I really liked. Like I like this photo. I like that aspect of it. I could take that photo, which I did. I could take this photo and I can also re-roll this because I already like the content that's coming out. And just to see what came through. Like this one, not that great. Okay, can re-roll it again. And you just keep re-rolling, telling it what you want to do, and it keeps generating nice images for you, which is great. And I'll give you an example here, okay? So I'm just going to copy this, and we'll go ahead and just roll something really quick. So if I come in here and I just say /imagine, and I want to come in and actually utilize it, I'm going to take this image weight off because I'm not using the image weight. Let's say that I wanted a hacker using a wireless device to hack, cyberpunk, cartoon. You can actually separate these if you want. You could put weights behind this, like make this a 2 and then say something like hacking inside of an office. Give that a weight of a 1 and do that. It may or may not work. Midjourney's still working on it. It's getting better every iteration, so just give it time. But if you sit down and really take the time to play with this and learn this, I've spent hours on Midjourney. It gets a lot cooler and a lot better. Okay, so it generated these images and we've got a few here. So we've got this one I kind of like. So what we can do is, again, we can click on this if we want to download it. We can also do variations of this. I picked the wrong one, actually. I picked the bottom one. Let's do a variation of this and just roll it. This will auto roll. I have my settings a little bit different, so I actually have to submit this on mine. But you'll see that it creates the same image, but with subtle differences, and that's kind of nice too. So you can come in here and also re-roll if you want and just get 4 more images until you find something that you like. You can be more descriptive. You could say pink hues, purple hues, blue hues, whatever you want, just depending on how you want your photo to look. It actually gets fairly unique depending on how many times you run this. So you can see now it's generating. It takes a minute or so just to get through it, but once it does, we'll have 4 different images that look similar to the very first one, and we can continue playing around with that. So here are the 4 images. Our guy looks like a little hat on here. He's wearing a mask here, has facial hair here, and then has facial hair here too, wearing glasses. So we can give different backgrounds and different ideas. You could see like this has a little bit different background than this one does. Like this has a map going on. So it's just subtle little differences. The screens are different. And you can just keep doing this, rolling until you find which one you want, which is fun. Okay, so another AI that we can use is something like unrealperson.com. This is similar to this person does not exist. Basically, you come in here and just generate a photo of a random person. It'll generate them. This person's not real. It's using AI to generate that. Well, why do we care about this? Well, I intend to make a full video on this later on, but we can actually use these fake characters for fake personas, for what's known as a sock puppet, to have alternative accounts, which is useful in cybersecurity. Yeah, it's useful for trolling and other things as well, but in cybersecurity, if you're trying to have a persona that you're going to utilize on a physical engagement or social engineering, something like that, you can create a whole fake profile for that using a person that doesn't exist. Now, this is very basic. This has been around forever. But what we can do is start generating a little bit more information about this person and then using AI to help build a story and photographs of the person. A great website is fakenamegenerator.com. You can come in here and say, hey, I've got a male. I want an American name. They live in the United States. You just generate that. And now we've got, hey, Richard Watson, who lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico, mother's maiden name, social security number, geo coordinates, phone number, all this stuff. You could copy this stuff. It even gives you like email addresses and all this fake information that you can utilize if you want. So you can say, hey, ChatGPT, we're not going to go through this, but you can say, ChatGPT, I've got a guy named Richard Watson. Here's his employment. Can you give me a backstory, or can you tell me a story about this person? And ChatGPT will write a story for you. I actually learned this from Zach Hill because he writes stories using ChatGPT for his son every night and generates images to go along with that story using AI, using Midjourney, and I think that's really cool too. So to give you a better example, I started working on this fake person project, and this was an AI image that I generated from that website, and I started making things here a little bit. And again, it takes finagling. Midjourney is not easy by any means, but if you take the time to practice, it does. So I said, hey, setting is a school. Frank has darker skin, wears glasses, has a fade haircut. Setting is Frank teaching a class, which kind of worked, didn't. Hyper-realistic, hyper-realism. And this is kind of what I got. And I fed this image in, by the way, this image to kind of get a face that looks like Frank. You'll notice the faces are similar, but not great. And this is also very cartoonish. Even though I told it hyper-realism, it didn't work. So I had to do some research and go in and start looking at, okay, how do I make this a little bit better to make this look more like a real person like this? And what can we do to work with that? So, okay, we can call out premium photography. We can actually give weights to things, like a 4 means a higher weight than a 2 or a 1 or a 3. You could say high quality, ultra realistic, realism, those kind of things as well. And it makes it a little bit better. But if you put the weight just on the portrait photography and not the setting or any of the other information, well, then we just got a portrait photography, because that's kind of what we told it to do. So I kept going through and just trial and erroring things, and eventually you start adding in multiple photos. Like here's the photo of Frank plus this teacher here. So I kind of wanted to get a better classroom setting, and that started giving me better options here. Now we can see, okay, hey, we're in a classroom. This looks a little bit better. I started generating stuff. I lost a little bit again because I went down to cartoons. And then eventually you start to get it. Like this one, okay, I got a picture what I think Frank looks like as a kid. So this could be Frank as a child, right? And we could start developing a backstory for Frank, putting photos on Instagram or something just to give him more realism, and come through and just start generating more things. Like I wanted Frank in an office setting here. So I found a guy in an office and I started looking at that and started generating images. I found some decent ones that I kind of liked, but then I just decided to come through and do variations of these ones to see if I liked anything. And eventually I kind of got one that I thought was a good background, looked like it could be Frank, and that to me looks like it could be the same guy that we saw initially, right? We don't have to use the initial photo. We want to make our own. These are actually highly detectable. If we scroll back up, this is pretty apparent that it's a fake photo. Anybody who kind of has worked in cybersecurity or knows about this knows that these photos generated look like this. So they don't really fool many people anymore. But if you start to come in and utilize AI to generate new imagery, it can start really getting good. Like some of these photos in office spaces and everything else that I was generating look great. And you can come in and I pulled down like this photo looks like the same guy just in a different office. You can see windows actually in the background. It's pretty unique. Now, this is all very high quality, fancy photo photography. If I were to go through and do this over, I would probably make this more realistic in the terms of maybe like a photography taken with a cell phone, something that's not as high quality, make Frank look a little bit more real. But I've seen plenty of Instagrams and things as well where all the photos are of this quality, and that's okay too. So you just have to think about the persona and the person that you're creating and creating a story for them. This again takes a lot of research and a lot of time, but it is powerful stuff. You can build out fake profiles from it. You can build out sales documents like you saw. You can help with your reporting. You can help build websites with this. It's amazing what this is capable of doing. There's so much power behind AI right now. Okay, so those are just a few examples of what you can do in AI with cybersecurity. It's a very, very small subset of what's out there. I try to show some unique things because I think we know about building tools. I think we know about some of the powers of hacking that this can do if you finesse it a little bit. But I think that, hey, helping with report writing is realistic. Helping with sales documents, helping generate information, all realistic applications to a cybersecurity role or a pen test role, which is great. Again, AI in its current form is an assistant. It is not going to replace us as cybersecurity folks anytime soon. It's here to help us. It's here to make us better and help our jobs become more efficient or help us become more efficient at our job. So it's not something that we should be scared of. It's something that we should be embracing. So that is it for this video. As always, if you liked it, please hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below. Until next time, my name is Heath Adams, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.